BC's favorite senior lifestyle magazine comes to life. Join us as Senior Living goes on location to bring you the inspiring, informative, and entertaining adventure-filled stories of seniors in your community. Senior Living on location, changing the definition of aging, celebrating seniors living life to its fullest. Stay with us as Senior Living on location tickles your funny bone with Marylee Stephenson, frolics with a retired pharmacist on an outdoor playground for seniors, and introduces you to a senior who's living out his rock star dreams. But first we begin with Renewal of Life at Providence Farm. At first sight, you might think you've discovered Eden. The grand house that sits on a 400-acre parcel is surrounded by lush gardens and other impressive structures. This incredible property was donated to the Vancouver Island Providence Community Association and the Providence Village Housing Society by the Sisters of St. Anne, with the condition that it be used to help others, and that's exactly what's been happening ever since. Providence Farm is located in the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island. The property is a working, organic farm providing innovative programs in horticultural therapy and vocational training. It's dedicated to restoring the spirit and skills of those with physical, mental, and emotional challenges, and is one of Canada's few horticultural therapy venues. One of their programs, called the St. Anne's Garden Club, is a recreational therapeutic horticultural program aimed at motivating seniors with various mental health issues.
We are in the middle of St. Anne's Garden Club at Providence Farm, and these are part of the gardens in the seniors program. Each senior has a plot, and they can grow anything they want in the plot. Some grow vegetables, some grow just flowers. They can take them home, or they can donate them to the program, because we freeze and can a lot of stuff, and we use them in the wintertime in soups, casseroles. It's a therapeutic community, and it's for people who are not accepted or feel that they're not accepted anywhere else in society. So a lot of them have mental health illnesses. In our program as well, they of course have age-related illnesses.
Must be me.
So participants in the program are encouraged to engage in activities of their choice, such as gardening, walking, cooking, carpentry, crafts, or socializing.
I've made about 30 of them. Yeah.
But there is one amazing element to this whole program that makes it not only unique, but therapeutically savvy. Some of these courses are run by a number of volunteers, most of which also happen to be seniors. One such volunteer is 89-year-old George Trite, who, by the way, was recently recognized as Volunteer of the Year by the local Chamber of Commerce.
Well, it made me feel very humbled in a way, because the farm has actually done more for me than I've done for the farm. It really has. You know, these so-called handicapped people taught me a lot.
George has been volunteering at Providence Farm for more than 10 years, working on average 4 days a week with St. Anne's Garden Club. George not only shares his love, generosity, and acceptance of all who come, but he also shares his gift and skills in woodworking. Many of the wooden memorial benches, flower boxes, and tables were built by him or made by participants under his supervision.
I get wonderful pay. Tea and cookies.
Life, now you're a movie star.
You just keep out of that.
Another person that contributes to the well-being of the program is MS patient Jody Brett. He is what is termed a participant volunteer.
The incredible thing about a place like this is the calmness, the quiet, a chance to think about things without too much pressure, meeting folks. I've had a problem defining myself, and I've finally come up with sort of a volunteer/participant. I feel comfortable with that role. I think we have a very good chemistry here right now. My niche is to cook lunch for anywhere from 12 to 15 people, which is kind of neat because I've never cooked before, and they're still alive after.
This is an excellent example of, no matter what your age, physical, or mental capabilities are, that there are still opportunities and resources available to you to keep involved and active in the community, be it as a volunteer, participant, or both. The farm runs a number of differing programs such as the Good Food Box Collective, community hanging baskets, vocational training and rehab, the farm store, and allotment gardens. The farm operates on the Renewal of Life theory, in which caring for the soil results in the soil in turn nurturing the people. There are 34 staff and 130 participants in the various Providence Farm programs. Visitors are welcome to visit Providence Farm and see for themselves why it's considered to be an exceptionally inspirational place. It's open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can pick up a free map and enjoy a self-guided tour. You can also purchase fresh produce or a souvenir at the general store, knowing it's made and or grown by the participants of Providence.
Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media, celebrating seniors in our community.
Meet Harry Caine. At first glance, you'd think he's just like any other senior, but there's more to Harry than meets the eye. A retired pharmacist and affectionately known as the anti-drug pharmacist before he retired, this man has taken it upon himself to revolutionize the way seniors take care of themselves. Rather than encouraging seniors to take more drugs to remedy their issues related to illness and aging, Harry became an advocate for seniors to get off their dependence on excessive medications and change their lifestyles. By eating well and exercising regularly, Harry believes that many seniors can significantly improve their overall health at any age. During a trip to China, Harry was fascinated by outdoor parks used daily for the purpose of Tai Chi. He became inspired to create an outdoor wellness park in Vancouver in which seniors could get outside and get physically active. He connected with a number of engineers, kinesiologists, politicians, and fundraisers to create the first Lions Wellness Park located in Tsawwassen Windskill Park. The park is situated near many seniors' apartment buildings and across the street from the Tsawwassen Wellness Fitness Center. This park is actually the first playground model for older adults, which has inspired similar initiatives around the province, the country, and even the world.
When our government in Victoria was here for the official opening, they liked it so much that the Premier Campbell at the time funded 18 of these playgrounds throughout the province, and I believe they're all up and running right now. Then, of course, it became sort of worldwide, and the Americans came, and I talked to them, and I went to Texas and helped them set up theirs in Amarillo and all over North America. There's some in Europe, there's one in Berlin, there's one in Korea. They're just everywhere now.
The park is essentially an outdoor space with weatherproof exercise machines. Now, depending on your age, height, and weight, you can adjust a dial on the exercise equipment, and the intensity of the exercise will be adjusted to your needs. The facility features chipped rubber tires providing soft foot landings instead of hard gravel, making it almost impossible to get hurt from a fall. Equipment is geared to exercise specific body areas in a safe manner, including a focus on stretching and balance exercises.
What's the first thing that tends to go with seniors? And that's their balance. They tend to fall. They tend to get dizzy and fall. That silly little piece of equipment is so designed that by walking on it, they just get the strength, and they just prevents them from falling. It's so basic. It is so basic. You think, how does it work? But it does.
Okay, so remember about this one. You want to fatigue one leg, so we're always going to have the right leg do all the work.
Fitness instructors are also on hand to help out with the exercises. And once you master the park, you can visit it at any time for a workout. Harry has been active in working with the local fitness center and nearby seniors complexes to educate seniors about how to use the machines and the importance of staying active. Harry himself practices what he preaches. His fitness routine includes a gym workout which involves stretching for 30 minutes, the treadmill for 30 minutes, and lifting weights for another 30 minutes. He regularly attends an aquafit class each week. His health regimen is even more impressive considering Harry, now in his 70s, once fell out of a cherry tree and broke his back. He was told he'd be in a wheelchair in 20 years due to the injury. That was 35 years ago.
Why is this park here? Because when you are a senior, and I hate to use that word like that, but it does sort of defines an age category that I'm talking about. You will live a lot longer if you continue with this exercise. It's a daily program, and just go with it.
The playground just for seniors makes perfect sense in British Columbia, a province that boasts the most active elderly people in the country, as well as having the oldest population of any province west of Quebec. Harry has taken his knowledge and experience from his career and has revitalized his retirement by contributing to change in his community.
Remember, I spent 25 years of my pharmacist career in geriatrics, so I was in nursing homes all the time. And I tied the whole thing of drug reduction, exercise, and keeping seniors just so much more alert. And by applying the two together, we came up with this, and it just does exactly what I thought it would do. And of course, it's proven itself over the last bunch of years because everybody does it now.
Spreading the message of wellness with infectious energy, Harry is an example of an active senior, redefining what it means to age by changing the way people think about exercise.
Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media, celebrating seniors in our community.
Meet Marylee Stephenson. This youthful 67-year-old is not your traditional retiree. With her intellect, a PhD in sociology, along with a multitude of other educational credits to her CV, she's also added comedy to her resume. Now, that's an interesting combination when you put it all together. A 67-year-old lesbian comic with a PhD. Yes, we thought we'd slide that one in. Though her first love is comedy, Marylee continues to work on a number of contracts related to research, project evaluation, and policy development. She says with today's economy and living standards, she can't afford to retire, and being a natural performer, she decided at age 59 to pursue a more formal career as a stand-up comedian. One of her favorite topics is signs.
They've got one in Kitsilano, you know, where they have those little pocket parks. There it is, and drops down to the water. And there is a sign, honest to God, that says, "Caution, high vertical cliffs." You know, all this life I've been terrified of the horizontal ones, you know, just coming at you like that. I mean, and then driving down to Seattle, which is always good for a few signs, there's one, and it said, "Mud wrestling for Christ." And I mean, I don't know that much about God or Jesus, but I don't think they're going to look down there and say, "That one's really muddy. Let's take him up right now." You know? But really, all my life, I've been a show-off. Let's face it. Ever since, and if you talk to any comic, they'll say, "I discovered one time that I could make people laugh." But the degree, the teaching, the government work, that was just sort of. I never made real career decisions. I got the BA, oh well, I'm interested, I'll go and do a MA. My teacher's at that school in England. Then I thought, well, I'll get a PhD, come out west here, that it would be a Western lifestyle, but it wouldn't be the States, because this was the late 60s, and it was very tense and edgy because of Vietnam. And so sure enough, it was a West Coast lifestyle, but without the edge. But the transition is not in any way different, really, because always I like to think I was funny, I like to think I was fairly witty, and teaching is performing too if you're doing it right.
As Marylee took on the comedy world, she began to find the stand-up comedic scene a bit disgruntling.
Much of the comedy I do now, instead of going around to open mics at this place and that place, me and all these 22-year-old guys, you know, uncertain facial hair, toques, pants down to here, every other word, you know, So a lot of times I'm sold at auctions, silent auctions for some group, you know, like some political group or a Rotary or whatever. And then I go to their event or whatever, and then I do the comedy.
So rather than give up on comedy altogether, Marylee has transitioned her comedic approach more to storytelling and performing at private functions. Besides performing, Marylee's portfolio also includes writing for Senior Living magazine, as well as a regular column in Monitor, a journal for the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. She also has a consulting and coaching website for new businesses. Another interesting aspect to Marylee Stephenson's life is where she lives. A co-housing complex, Quayside Village, one of 3 such complexes in the lower mainland of Vancouver.
The co-housing, as I've said, it's an attempt to form a sense of community and of support for each other, but not like you're going to some ashram and having to start, you know, shave your head or anything.
Co-housing is a collaborative housing system where residents participate in the design and development of their own homes and communities. It's not a commune or co-op. It's a complex in which the residents determine their communal needs and share resources. They're basically neighborhoods that combine the autonomy of private dwellings with the advantages of shared resources and community living. They typically range from 10 to 35 households, emphasizing a multi-generational mix of singles, couples, families, and elders. Marylee firmly believes that co-housing saved her life. As she began to age, her business started to decline. She felt isolated, living alone and depressed. Moving to the complex has helped create a sense of community and family for her. Even just by sitting and working in the common area, Marylee says the feeling of isolation dissolves. Marylee is part of a growing group of senior-age women who cannot afford to retire. So rather than giving up a career at 65, Marylee is a prime example of finding a new niche in her retirement and having a blast doing it.
Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media, celebrating seniors in our community.
Okay, and we got vocal. Check.
John Pippas is a musician whose performing career has been booming since retiring from his job as a videotape editor. John is in his early 60s and has been into music his entire life. However, he has only come to make a substantial go in the music industry since retiring.
I just found work was getting in the way of my passion, which turned out to be a singer-songwriter, recording and performing, writing, recording, performing music. And so I tapered off work. I made myself less and less available until about 5 years ago. I said, I'm just not available for any more shifts. And so since then, it's just been full-time music. I mean, you know, writing a song out of thin air and then performing it, it's a rush.
His style is acoustic, soul folk, rough and ready blues with ballads, pop, and new country intertwined.
Look at that, I got fans. Okay, you got a guitar.
John performs regularly in pubs and bars throughout Vancouver.
Okay, first song is called Shopping Cart Joe. It's from my friend Donna. She requested it. It's the song I wrote about being homeless. Shopping Cart Joe. It's what they call me, that's all they know.
John Pippas currently has 4 completed albums with airplay in Canada, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand that he sells as CDs or which can be downloaded off his website. On Friday evenings, you can find John hosting a weekly music night at a downtown coffee shop, introducing new and upcoming talent in town.
Okay, it's Friday music night at Trees Organic Coffee House.
Music is now a full-time business for John Pippas. He doesn't consider it to be a newfound career, nor does he consider it just a hobby either. He doesn't need the money to survive. He performs because he's passionate about it, but he wouldn't mind making a small profit to cover his costs. Besides being a musician, John has led an extraordinary life. He has known success and tasted a little of the good life, and he's also fallen to rock bottom, from being a successful entrepreneur to abusing drugs.
I think the key for me was that in my late 40s, I was getting kind of lethargic. I was 40 pounds heavier. kind of a low-grade depression, and I thought, you know, my body was my vehicle to carry my brain around in, kind of that conceit. But I found that that wasn't working, and so when I was 51, I kind of smartened up, and I hired a trainer for 10 sessions, and I learned how to use a gym. I didn't know what all that equipment was for. And then I started running just a little bit, and then it was the exercise that really got me sparkling, you know, woke me up.
But picking himself back up and making a radical change in his life, he's now living the dream and even dabbling as a playwright. He wrote and performed a one-man, one-act play called Oh, Winnipeg, a surprising musical memoir, essentially about the journey of his life. It debuted at the Victoria Fringe Festival in August of 2009 and a number of other venues since. John Pippas is a 60-year-old on a musical journey, driven by his ability to pursue his dreams and make a little cash on the side. Rather than slowing down in retirement, he's actually ramping up, but doing so under his own guidelines.
This is my new album's called Wrapped Up in the Blues.
All right. Thanks.
Do you have a great story idea about seniors living life to the fullest? Senior Living would love to hear from you. Your inspiring story idea could be featured in an upcoming episode on Senior Living on Location or in our monthly BC-wide Senior Living Lifestyle magazine. To send us your idea, visit our website at seniorlivingmag.com and follow the links to our Contact Us page, or simply email us at production@seniorlivingmag.com.